Comic Books and Books this week is going to be a little bit shorter than usual, but we do have a massive crossover that kind of seems super impossible. Definitely there's been a lot of fan theories over the years of what might happen if this crossover were to happen, so it's finally happening, so we'll get an answer to that, kind of. We also have, speaking of iconic characters, we have a certain skull-wearing vigilante is making a triumphant return in a really interesting way that isn't 100% indicative of a proper shift correction by Marvel, but we'll talk about that. Yeah, that's really all we've got is those two pieces. There's some other stuff in here, kind of, but by and large, that's it, so let's go! Hello nerds, welcome to the Clips channel. This is a clip, as if the channel name was not specific enough. This clip specifically comes from a show that I do over on the main channel called The Week in Nerddom. We are going to be talking about comic books and books, very specifically in this clip. So news from the last week that has to do with everything comic books and books. Generally more on the comic book side, because the books side of things is kind of a little bit more slow going when it comes to nerdy content, but we do still cover it. So that being said, I appreciate you joining me. Let's get into the news.
Subscribe. That is all.
We have no follow-ups or corrections. We have no trailers this week in Comic Books and Books, but we do have some regular-ass news. So let's do that, shall we? We have two fairly important pieces of regular-ass news. The first one more as a social importance, and the second one more as, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing this importance. So the first one is Punisher. We now have official announcement from Marvel saying that Punisher is getting a new book. It is in the Red Band line of books, so the more adult, uncensored books that Marvel does. It is going to be the Frank Castle we know and love, with the OG Punisher logo on his chest. None of that new demon looking thing with the horns that maybe is some sort of secret message if you want to believe the conspiracy theories. This book is being written by Benjamin Percy with art from Julius, I believe, Ohta. It's coming out in September. This, we very likely have a lot to thank from the Punisher in the live action, because John Barenthal has been such a major proponent of the Punisher as the Punisher and not whatever the hell Marvel's trying to do with him in the books these days. And with that popularity being kind of one of the things that is also being so well talked about in the live action Daredevil show, very, very likely that the existence of this probable test book, because again, we're gearing, it's a one-off, it's four or five books, it's a mini, right? Does it say exactly? No, it doesn't say. It's going to be a mini though. So probably about 5 issues in the red line. They know who they're marketing it towards, because this is a very adult character, right? He's very gory, very foul and such. But this is exactly who the way this character should be represented as far as the fans are concerned. And they're going to see that this is going to do super well, I would imagine. From there, though, the other thing that we have to talk about in Comic Books and Books is Batman versus Deadpool. And that is not clickbait, that is not me making things up on a wish list. This is actually freaking happening. So we have, it's technically going to be 2 separate one-shots, and each of those one-shots is also going to feature other crossover stories. But the big story in each of these one-shots, the Marvel one is obviously going to be Deadpool versus Batman, and the DC one is going to be Batman versus Deadpool. But it's happening. So for the Marvel book, it is releasing in September. It is being written by Zeb Wells, September 17th. Zeb Wells and Greg Capullo are going to be the creative team behind this. Greg Capullo is one of my favorite freaking comic book artists. Super, super love this dude. And then for the DC book, sit down if you aren't already, because this is going to be kind of epic. Grant Morrison is going to be the writer on this, and Dan Mora is going to be the artist on this. Yes, 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 this is what was being alluded to previously with Morrison that we talked about, where he's like, I'm coming back to the big two, but I can't say why, and now we know why. Oh, yes. This is going to sell so well. This is fan service in ways that we can't even imagine. You can go watch Bat and the Sun's superpower beatdown between Batman and Deadpool. It's great. I'm imagining we're going to get something similar, though much less graphic, in these two books. We're just gonna talk in circles if I don't move on from here, but let me leave this point at, oh my god, I'm so stoked. I'm actually going to be buying a Batman book again, because I haven't done that for some time, because they really have bent him over and done horrible things to him. Anyway, let's continue on to our suggestion for the week. Suggestions keeping with the Deadpool theme of suggestions. We have Deadpool versus Omega Red. It is a trade. I have the trade. I couldn't find it. It's in a box, probably in storage right now. It is two of my favorite Wolverine adjacent characters battling between two issues. It is a very quick read, but it is a fun read nonetheless, because Deadpool Omega Red battle. It is Deadpool issue 42 from 2015. So 42 and 43 are the two books that it puts together, and there's no conclusion to it because it's not the end of the arc for Deadpool. It's just a section of the arc from Deadpool. And Omega Red is kind of taking a back seat in so many ways in modern comics. Like, that's a big reason why I'm a big fan of this. Honestly, it's been a decade since it came out, so like that kind of tells you where they're at with these stuff. But it is still a hell of a lot of fun to read. Brian Posehn is one of the lead writers on this. Duggan is the other one, and I love the Posehn stuff when it comes to Deadpool. This is a prime example of why. Yeah, just go check it out. That is your book's suggestion for the week. Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of the sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, probably here.